Oh, I was telling you about Daddy. If you ever saw him coming home with a big fish under his arm wrapped up in newspaper, you'd know he was drinking. And he'd have that moonshine. And when he got started, he would drink for at least 2 weeks. And Mama would put Epicac in it, and it would make him vomit and throw up and make him real sick. And he'd cry and say, "You shouldn't do that to me." But anyway, they let him work for a good while at the barn. One day he got held up. Somebody took all the money from him. So he went to report that, and he told Mr. Patterson, he said, "It's a good thing I didn't have my gun." He said, "Why, J.C., would you have shot him?" He said, "No, he'd have got my gun too." But anyway, every Thanksgiving, they would give each one of them a turkey, and that's a live turkey. You couldn't buy turkeys in the store, and you couldn't buy chickens. Well, you could buy chickens in the store, but they had to have them in a coop, and they were alive, and you'd have to buy them alive and take them home and then kill them and pick them and so forth. But anyway, that ends my story about him. But now I want to tell you about my mother's family. Her sister, well, first of all, they were born in Soperton, Georgia. And her sister, Aunt Dolly, married Lawrence Hood. And he worked for the railroad, and as is always, the engineers made a pretty good salary, and most of them bought land, and he bought a place up close to Pembroke. And my mother's daddy left when she was young, and her mother died shortly thereafter. So Aunt Dolly and Uncle Lawrence had to raise my mother's family, which included Aunt Elizabeth, Aunt Essie, Aunt Annie, and Aunt Annie at that time probably had amnesia.
No,
and
Alzheimer's.
And they had a place in Milledgeville, what they call the insane asylum, and she was sent there for a while, and of course later on they sent her back. But I think she had Alzheimer's instead of being crazy. And then I had Aunt Margaret, and she had a son, and her husband left her, so the son was left there, and she later died. And then one day a fella came in and picked up the son unbeknownst to anybody, and we've never seen or heard from him since then. And then of course she had a sister named Aunt Elizabeth, and there was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and then her children included Betty and Huldah and H.L., or Junior as they called him, and Martha. So she raised, Aunt Dolly raised a bunch of people all at one time, and occasionally, well, every summer we would go up because they had plenty of vegetables and we could always have something to eat. And that's, during the Depression, there was not much money or food. But anyway, we would go up there and stay and pick cotton and work in the tobacco fields. Of course, we didn't have to work as hard as they did. They'd give me a little bag to put my cotton in, and then when I went to empty it, I'd get some cotton off of the other bushes, off the other blankets, and put it on mine. And I never did get over 30 pounds, and they'd pick 100 and 110. But anyway, we would go up and have an enjoyable time just eating and
I think eating is your favorite pastime now, still,
yes,
isn't
it
it?
was my favorite pastime.
Yes,
But
think
I
so.
wanted to tell you about my Aunt Dolly. See you later, buddy.
And your Aunt Dolly was your mama's
My
sister.
Aunt Dolly was my mother's sister, and she raised all of them, her family, and then occasionally there'll be other family members that would stay with her.
She lived to about 96, I think, didn't she?
Huh?
Didn't she live to about 96?
Yeah. She lived to about 96, and I'm going to pass her one day, but it'll be at least another year. But the Lord has been good to my family and to me. Appreciate it. Look at that stomach on that